Why does it feel like I'm no longer enough for you?
Maybe you stopped being the man I needed.
I didn't catch my wife cheating in bed. I caught her with a birthday card. I was standing in the doorway of our bedroom when it happened, half in the shadows, half in the light from her bedside lamp. Ashley was sitting on the edge of the bed, still in her work clothes, her heels kicked off, purse dumped out next to her. I don't even think she heard me come up the stairs. She was too busy reading. She told me her coworker was just a friend. Then I found a birthday card in her purse saying, "Counting the days until you're free." She didn't know I was standing right behind her when she read it. That sentence could be the headline of my life that night. Ashley held the card with both hands, thumbs brushing the edges like it was something precious. Her lips curled into this little private smile I hadn't seen in months. Soft, dreamy, almost teenage. I used to think that smile was mine. It wasn't. I could see the inside of the card from where I stood. Blue ink, sharp handwriting, the kind you get from someone who takes their time. At the top, "Happy birthday, Ash." And underneath, the line that punched a hole straight through my chest. "Counting the days until you're free." Not, "Hope you have a great day." Not, "You deserve the best." No, counting the days until you're free. Free from what? Free from me. For a second, my brain refused to connect the dots. I just stood there, watching her trace that line with her finger, her cheeks turning slightly pink. She bit her bottom lip like she was replaying some secret conversation in her head. And I realized something ugly and cold. That look was never for me. Not anymore. She giggled, actually giggled, and whispered, "You're insane, Tyler," under her breath. Tyler, her coworker, the same Tyler she told me was just a friend from the office. The one who always flirts with everyone, so I shouldn't overreact. The one who just gave her a ride home because it was late and I cared too much about my career to mess it up with something stupid. Yeah, him. He was apparently counting the days until my wife was free. My body reacted before my mind did. My heart started pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. My hands went numb, my throat turned dry, and all I could think was, "Don't make a sound. Don't move. Watch." I know that sounds sick, but I needed to see her. Really see her. Not the version I've been defending to my friends. Not the version I've been arguing with myself about at 3 a.m., telling myself I was too paranoid. I watched her close the card, press it against her chest, and lean back onto the bed with this satisfied little sigh. She stared at the ceiling like she was imagining a life without me. A life with him, my wife, lying on our bed, holding another man's words to her heart. You want to know the crazy part? I didn't explode. I didn't shout. I didn't storm in, grab the card, and demand answers. I just stood there, gripping the doorframe so hard my nails dug into the wood, and thought. So this is it. This is the moment everything breaks. Because everything clicked at once. The late nights finishing a project. The girls' dinners where no one ever posted a single picture. The phone flipped face down. The sudden obsession with her appearance just for herself. The icy attitude toward me over the smallest things, like I was this annoying background character in her life. I had been collecting red flags for months, and this stupid rectangular piece of cardboard was the final one. She sat up again, pulled her phone from the nightstand, and snapped a photo of the card. I watched her type, her thumbs flying over the screen, her voice dropping into that soft tone she never used with me anymore. "Got it," she murmured, smiling. "Yeah, I loved it. You're terrible. Stop. I am blushing. You're terrible." I wanted to laugh. I wanted to cry. I wanted to walk over and ask her, "When did I stop being enough for you?" Instead, I backed up one quiet step, then another. My feet felt heavier than my whole body. I was afraid the floorboards would creak and ruin this evidence. Because that's what it was now. Not a misunderstanding. Not me overthinking. Evidence. By the time I reached the hallway, my jaw was clenched so tight my teeth hurt. I went downstairs like a ghost, sat at the kitchen table, and stared at the silent, spotless room we'd built a life in. The fridge hummed. The clock ticked. The house felt smaller, like the walls knew before I did. She had a man counting the days until she was free, and I was sitting there like an idiot paying the mortgage. I don't know how long I sat there before I heard her footsteps. Light, quick, familiar. She came down humming some pop song, phone in hand, acting like she hadn't just mentally packed her bags and walked out of our marriage in her head. "Hey, babe," she said, passing by me toward the counter, her tone flat, bored, like I was a coworker she barely liked. "You're home early." "Babe." The word sounded like a joke. I watched her set her phone down, open a cabinet, reach for a glass. She moved like nothing was wrong, like there wasn't a countdown running in the background of her life. "Yeah," I said, my voice somehow steady. Traffic wasn't bad. She didn't even turn around. "Lucky you." "Lucky, right?" I looked at her back, her perfect hair, her perfect posture, her perfect act, and I made a decision in that moment, before the yelling, before the tears, before the lies I knew were coming. I wasn't going to be the clueless husband in her story anymore. If she wanted to play games, fine. I would stop playing defense. I would gather everything, every glance, every lie, every slip, and when I confronted her, it wouldn't be with a question. It would be with a verdict. That night with the card, that was the start of the end, but not just for our marriage. It was the night I stopped begging to be chosen and started quietly preparing to walk away. The funny thing about betrayal is that once you see one crack, you start realizing the whole wall has been crooked for a long time. After the birthday card, I couldn't unsee anything. The next morning, Ashley acted like every cliché cheating wife rolled into one. She barely looked at me, just floated around the kitchen in her blouse and pencil skirt like she was starring in some office romance movie in her head. "Big day?" I asked, pretending my hands weren't shaking as I poured coffee. She didn't glance up from her phone. "Just work, Daniel. Same as always." "Why are you being weird?" "Because you have a man counting the days until you're free," I wanted to say. Instead, I took a sip and smiled. "Just asking." She rolled her eyes, the way she'd started doing a lot lately, like anything I said was a nuisance. "You know, you've been really clingy these last few months. It's unattractive. Unattractive." Like I was a sweater she'd grown tired of. She grabbed her bag and keys, the purse with the cards still inside. I watched her zip it up, wondering if she'd even remember to hide it properly or if she was so comfortable lying that she didn't bother. "Don't wait up," she tossed over her shoulder. "We might have to finish that report tonight. Tyler's staying late too." She said his name casually, but there was a little spark in her eyes when it came out. I doubt she even noticed. "I did. Just a friend," I murmured after the door closed. That day at work, I didn't get much done. I stared at spreadsheets while my mind replayed every moment from the last 6 months. The sudden gym membership, the new perfume she said a coworker recommended, the way she started sleeping with her phone under her pillow like it was a newborn. I thought about the night I walked into the living room and saw her laughing at her phone, really laughing like the way she used to with me when we binged dumb comedies in college. "Who's that?" I'd asked. "Nobody," she'd said, turning the screen away. "Just the group chat." But I'd seen the preview on the top of the screen. "Tyler, you look unreal today." "Group chat my ass." I went home early that afternoon. Not because I had a plan. I didn't. I just couldn't sit at that desk, one more minute, pretending my life wasn't on fire. The house was empty. Quiet. Too quiet. Her laptop was on the dining table, still open, humming softly. Ashley was careful with her phone, but her laptop? That was her blind spot. She thought I didn't know her password. I did. I stared at it for a full minute, my stomach twisting. There's a very clean line between trusting husband and man who finally wants the truth more than his pride. I crossed it. I opened her messages. His name was right there, Tyler M. The first thing I saw was a photo of her in the elevator mirror at work, blouse slightly unbuttoned, lips parted, that same teenage smile. Underneath, "Ashley, you're a bad influence." Tyler, "Counting the days until I can have you without hiding." "Ashley, be patient. I'm working on it." He's starting to annoy me more and more. He's starting to annoy me more and more. That he was me. I scrolled. The conversation went back months. Little comments, inside jokes, late night messages she claimed were work emergencies. "Tyler, tell me you're staying over." "Ashley, can't tonight." "He's still here." "Tyler, but he still thinks you're all his." "Ashley, he is so clueless." I could come home at 3 a.m. and he'd still ask if I'm hungry instead of suspicious. She was mocking me. To him, about how much I trusted her. There were details I didn't want but couldn't look away from. Talk of stolen moments in his car. quick visits in conference rooms. Her saying things like, "You make me feel alive again," and every time he talks about our future, I mentally leave the room. My favorite had to be, "Ashley, if he ever finds out, I'll just cry." He always backs down when I cry. "Tyler, you're dangerous." "Ashley, I know." She typed that with pride. In that moment, the woman I married vanished. What was left was someone else. Someone cold, calculated, proud of how easily she could twist me. A notification popped up at the top of the screen, snapping me out of it. "Ashley, leaving now. Home in 20. Pretend to be asleep. I'm exhausted, lol." Exhausted from what exactly? I closed the laptop. My heart wasn't racing anymore. I felt oddly calm, like my body had moved past panic into this numb, sharp state where every decision felt clearer. She thought I was clueless. She thought I'd crumble the second she cried. She thought my love made me weak. She was about to learn how wrong she was. Ashley walked through the door like she owned the night. Hair perfectly tousled, cheeks flushed, not from the cold, and that smug expression she always wore lately, as if the world existed purely for her entertainment. She didn't see me sitting there at first. She tossed her keys on the counter, humming, scrolling her phone like a teenager waiting for attention from her crush. Only when she opened the fridge did she finally notice me. "Oh," she said, blinking. "You're home. Not hi. Not how was your day. Just surprise." Like my presence was an inconvenience. I leaned back in my chair, hands folded, calm enough to scare myself. "Rough day." She shrugged, closing the fridge empty-handed. "Work. You know how it is." Interesting. No mention of Tyler. Not even a slip. She thought she was still in control. I gestured toward the chair across from me. "Seat." She raised an eyebrow. "Excuse me." "Seat. Eve Pizit." I didn't raise my voice, but something in my tone surprised even her. Ashley was used to the version of me who tried to keep the peace, who apologized just to end an argument she started. Tonight, that man was dead. She sat slowly, wary. "You're acting weird again. Is this about the trash or something stupid?" "Trash. If only." "Tell me about Tyler," I said. Her expression didn't falter. Not immediately. She tilted her head, lips curving into a half laugh, as if I were a child who misunderstood a joke. "What about him?" "He's a co-worker. I've told you this 1,000 times." I nodded. "Right. Just a friend." "Yes." She crossed her arms. "Are we seriously doing this again? You're so insecure lately." There it was, the classic deflection. Accuse me of insecurity, flip the script, play victim. A strategy she'd mastered long before Tyler ever entered the picture. So, I continued. "Friends give birthday cards that say they're counting the days until you're free." Her eyes widened, one split second of panic, but the moment passed, replaced by that icy arrogance she wore like perfume. "You went through my purse? You left the card out?" I corrected. "You weren't hiding it. Not well, anyway." She scoffed, flipping her hair over her shoulder. "It was a joke. He's dramatic. You always read into things." "A joke?" I leaned forward. "Does he joke about your shirts being unzipped just right in conference rooms? About late-night drives? About how I'm clueless?" Ashley froze. Then her lips parted into a slow, calculated smile. The kind of smile someone gives right before stabbing you emotionally. "You went through my messages. After months of lies?" "Yes. You had no right. You forfeited rights when you started living a double life in my house." For a moment, something cracked in her mask. Not guilt. No, that emotion didn't live in her. Instead, annoyance. Like this confrontation was an appointment she didn't feel like attending. "You're overreacting," she said, voice dripping with false calm. "He's just fun to talk to. You're boring lately. Everything about you is routine. Same job, same dinner, same questions." I wanted excitement. Excitement. Not loyalty. Not respect. Not marriage. Just dopamine hits from a man who wasn't me. "Did you ever plan to tell me?" I asked. She smirked. "Why would I? You get so emotional. It's pathetic." Pathetic. The word landed harder than the card had. "So the late nights?" I pressed. "Sometimes," she answered without shame. "The photos? The messages? If you weren't so bland, I wouldn't need someone who actually listens." She said it casually, like this was normal. Like betrayal was a lifestyle choice I'd forced her into. You make me feel trapped, she added. Tyler makes me feel alive. There it was, the confession she'd been itching to release. I nodded slowly. So you're waiting to be free. Ashley smiled, wide, cruel, triumphant. Maybe I am. I didn't shout. I didn't throw anything. I didn't cry. I stood. She frowned. Where are you going? To give you exactly what you want. Her smirk faltered. What does that mean? You'll find out. For the first time since this nightmare began, I watched fear flicker across her eyes. She couldn't read me anymore. The game shifted. The pieces moved. And she didn't like losing control. Daniel, stop being dramatic. I walked past her, my voice colder than the tiles beneath my feet. I'm done being dramatic. I'm done being boring. And I'm done being your safety net. Her voice cracked as she called after me, but I was already climbing the stairs. For months, she was counting the days until she was free. Now, I was counting mine. And unlike her, I wasn't planning to waste them. Ashley followed me upstairs like a storm in heels. Daniel, what the hell is that supposed to mean? She snapped, her voice echoing down the hallway. I was in our bedroom closet, pulling a suitcase from the top shelf. The same one we'd used on our honeymoon. The irony tasted bitter. She stopped in the doorway when she saw it. Oh, grow up, she scoffed. You're not actually packing. Don't be pathetic. I set the suitcase on the bed and unzipped it, slow and deliberate. You wanted excitement, I said. Congratulations. You've got it. She folded her arms, leaning on the doorframe like she was watching a show she'd already seen. So what, you're leaving? Where are you even going? Somewhere that doesn't have a countdown running over my head. She rolled her eyes. You're being so dramatic about a few messages and a stupid card. We didn't even do anything serious. I stared at her. You told him you couldn't wait to be free. You mocked me. You met him behind my back. What exactly would you call serious? She smirked. Oh, please. Everyone flirts. Everyone keeps a little something on the side nowadays. You're just mad because you finally realize you're not the center of my universe. The terrifying part was how honest she sounded. No apology. No regret. Just annoyance that I'd interrupted her little double life. You lied, I said simply. She shrugged. Because you can't handle the truth. You'd rather cling to your fantasy marriage than admit it hasn't been working for a long time. I started folding shirts. Not because I needed to, but because I needed my hands to be doing something that wasn't shaking. If it hasn't been working, I said, we talk. We fix it. We do counseling. We try. You don't go find Tyler and play Countdown to Freedom behind my back. She pushed off the doorframe and walked into the room, her eyes hard. You weren't listening, Daniel. I told you I was unhappy. You brushed it off every time. You told me I was overthinking or stressed from work. You didn't take me seriously, he did. That's rich, I said. You blame me for your choices and call it self-discovery. It's not blame, it's reality, she snapped. You're predictable. He isn't. You're safe and dull. He makes my heart race. Do you really think loyalty is enough to keep a woman happy? Yes, I answered. A decent woman. Her lips curled. And there it is. The insult. When you can't control something, you label it. You want a little obedient puppy wife who worships you. That's not me. I laughed once without humor. No, what I wanted was a partner who didn't treat me like backup storage while she test drove her coworker. She moved closer, eyes blazing. You knew who I was when you married me. I looked at her, really looked at her. No, I said quietly. I thought I did. Turns out you're better at acting than I realized. For a moment, something flickered in her expression, maybe a trace of the person I married. Then it was gone, replaced by steel. So what's the plan then? She asked. You storm out, make a big show of leaving, and then crawl back in a week after you calm down? Not this time. She laughed in my face. You always come back. You hate being alone. You wouldn't last 2 nights without this house, this routine, this little safe life you're pretending to be done with. You might be surprised, I said. And even if you're right, even if it hurts like hell, staying with someone who openly counts the days until she can dump me, that's worse. She sighed dramatically, like I'd bored her. Fine. Then go. Seriously, you want freedom? Take it. I'm not begging you to stay. No, I said. You're just begging him to hurry up. Her jaw tightened. I walked past her to the dresser, opened the top drawer, and pulled out the folder I'd started a few days earlier. Old bank statements, copies of the mortgage documents, a rough list of what was in whose name. This isn't just about walking out for a night, I said. This is about ending a game I didn't agree to play. Her voice dropped, low and dangerous. Are you threatening me? I'm informing you, I replied. I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to break anything. I'm not even going to post about it. I'm just done. You can't just be done, she shot back. There's money. There's the house. There's everything we built. I repeated, you've been building something entirely different with Tyler. Her eyes flashed. Don't you dare bring him into this like you're some kind of saint. You haven't been perfect either. There it is, I said softly. The part where you start digging through the past, try to find anything you can twist into equal blame. If I'm so terrible, she snapped, why did you stay this long? Because I thought you were still in there, I answered. The woman I married. The one who cried at stupid movies and kissed my forehead when I fell asleep at my desk. I kept waiting for her to come back. And now, I realized she died the moment you looked at that card and smiled. Her expression turned icy. You're going to regret this. Maybe, I said, but at least I won't regretting it from beside someone who despises me. For the first time, she didn't have a comeback. Silence dropped between us like a verdict. The birthday card had started the countdown. Now I was the one deciding when it ended. I didn't leave that night. Not because I was unsure. No, the decision was already carved into my bones. But because I wanted to see what she would do once she realized the game was finally slipping out of her manicured hands. Ashley hated losing control more than she hated being honest. For the first time in months, I wasn't the anxious one pacing the house. She was. She hovered around me like a wasp that couldn't decide whether to sting or flee. She kept opening her mouth like she was going to say something meaningful, but every sentence died halfway, strangled by the fact that she'd never learned how to apologize without turning the apology into a weapon. I sat in the living room, phone in hand, scrolling through listings for apartments. Small places. Temporary. Imperfect. But mine. What are you doing? She asked finally, leaning on the wall like her legs weren't steady enough to stand freely. What you told Tyler I'd never do, I answered. Living without you. She swallowed, and for the first time, her bravado cracked. Not broken, but hairline fractured. You read everything? Yes. She rubbed her wrist like she was trying to erase something written on her skin. Daniel, I was angry. I said things I didn't mean. You said them repeatedly, I replied. With enthusiasm. She stepped closer. You don't understand. He made me feel alive, I finished. Yes, I've heard the phrase. You two are basically poets. Her face tightened. You're mocking me. I'm acknowledging reality. No, she shot back, voice climbing. You're twisting it. You're acting like I planned all of this. Like I woke up one day and thought, let me destroy my marriage. I didn't. I stood. You didn't plan it. You allowed it. That's worse. Planning means intent. Allowing means you valued the thrill more than your vows. Her mouth opened, then closed. Speechless, for once. I moved past her toward the stairs, but she grabbed my arm. Not gently, not lovingly. More like she was keeping furniture from being carried away. You can't just walk away from 7 years over a few messages, she hissed. I turned slowly, looking her dead in the eye. Ashley, we both know this isn't about messages. This is about disrespect, about deception, about the months you spent making me feel like a burden while you built dreams with someone else. She let go. So what? You're just packing up and running because your ego's bruised. My ego isn't bruised, I said. My soul is tired. She blinked, confused. She wasn't prepared for this version of me. The calmness unsettled her more than yelling ever could. Anger is predictable. Silence is a mirror. What if I end it? She asked suddenly. I stopped mid-step. In what? Whatever it was with Tyler. I'll block him. Her voice trembled. Not from remorse, but fear of consequence. I'll prove it. I'll do whatever you want. It was fascinating, the desperation. Not for me. For the stability I represented. The house. The bills. The normalcy. The image. You already did whatever you wanted, I replied. Now I'm doing the same. You're overreacting, she repeated, as if saying it enough times would make it true. No, I said softly. I'm evolving. She scoffed. Oh, please. You're not capable of evolving. You're predictable, I interrupted. Safe? Boring? She flinched. Her insults were suddenly boomerangs. Then something shifted. Her voice softened, not kind, but strategic. Daniel, if you leave, you'll regret it. You'll miss me. I probably will, I admitted. Habit is powerful. She took a cautious step forward, like approaching a wild animal. Then don't go. We can fix this. I smiled sadly. You don't fix something by pretending it didn't break. She stared at me, eyes glossy, not with tears, but calculation. She was measuring the odds, the cost, the story she'd have to tell Tyler when the husband she mocked didn't collapse the way she promised. You're not serious, she whispered. You're bluffing. I picked up the suitcase. The sound of the zipper closing was louder than any argument we'd ever had. That's the problem, Ashley, I said. You always thought I wouldn't. Her face twisted, anger, shock, disbelief all crashing into one catastrophic expression. Daniel, don't do this. I walked past her. She didn't follow. The house seemed to inhale, waiting. At the front door, I paused, not because I doubted myself, but because I wanted to memorize the moment. The exact second my life pivoted from betrayal to truth. You were counting the days until you were free, I said without turning around. Now I am too, and I stepped out, not toward escape, toward myself. The world outside our house felt different the moment I stepped out. Not freer, yet, but raw, like stepping into cold air after being locked in a furnace. My suitcase rolled behind me, its wheels rattling like applause or warning. I couldn't tell which. The night was quiet, too quiet for someone whose life had just detonated. Streetlights hummed. A dog barked in the distance. Somewhere a couple laughed. Their laughter didn't hurt, it mocked me. It told me there were people out there living lives not filled with countdowns and secret messages. I sat in my car, engine off, staring at the steering wheel. It felt symbolic, like I could go anywhere and nowhere at the same time. After 7 years, I didn't even know where a man like me was supposed to go. Hotels? My brothers? My car? I wasn't running away. I was relocating my dignity. I drove to a cheap motel, the kind with buzzing neon, carpets that looked like they'd survived wars, and a front desk clerk who didn't care why you were there as long as your car didn't bounce. Perfect. I didn't need luxury. I needed anonymity. Inside the room, I dropped my suitcase and sat on the edge of the bed. The silence was louder than Ashley's insults. My phone buzzed immediately. Ashley, 5 messages. 1, come home. We're not done. 2, you're being ridiculous. 3, you're not the victim. 4, answer me. 5, Daniel. I put the phone face down. For years, that name from her lips felt like a promise. Tonight, it felt like a summons. My brain replayed everything she'd said. Not the betrayal itself, but the contempt. The way she looked at me like I was a placeholder, a supporting actor in the story of her self-discovery. It wasn't Tyler she loved. It was the feeling of being adored by someone new. I was the stable dock she resented because ships don't fall in love with harbors. They chase waves. My phone buzzed again. Ashley, if you leave, Tyler wins. Her logic stunned me. It wasn't love she fought for. It was territory. I wasn't a husband. I was a trophy she refused to let anyone else polish. For the first time, I laughed. Really laughed. Her words didn't cut anymore. They exposed her. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop and typed. What to do when your spouse cheats. The results were predictable. Forums full of heartbreak. Lawyers promising justice. Therapists selling hope. One post stood out. You don't heal by going back to what hurt you. You heal by becoming someone who won't tolerate being hurt again. I read that line 10 times. I wasn't leaving to teach her a lesson. I wasn't leaving to hurt her. I was leaving because staying had become self-destruction disguised as commitment. My phone rang, this time a call. Ashley. I answered, not out of weakness, but curiosity. What? I said. Her breath hit the speaker like she'd sprinted. Daniel, listen. We need to talk. No, Europea. You need to talk. I already did. You can't just walk away without hearing why. I heard why. You're bored. You wanted excitement. You found someone who gave you butterflies and forgot those wings were made from deceit. You're twisting everything, she snapped. No, I said calmly. I'm finally straightening it. Silence. Then she hissed. You won't survive without me. There it was. Not love. Not regret. Possession. You've mistaken dependence for devotion, I answered. But I'm changing the locks on both. She tried to interrupt, but I hung up. My hands shook, not from fear, but from liberation. Cutting a chain feels violent, even when it's necessary. I lay back on the motel bed, staring at the cracked ceiling. For the first time in years, my thoughts didn't orbit her. They orbited me. My future. My identity. My worth. A strange thing happens when betrayal ends. You stop fearing the truth and start fearing the lies you lived with. Her final message came 5 minutes later. Ashley, if you think you're done with me, you have no idea what I'm capable of. I stared at it, expression empty. She thought threats were hooks. They weren't. They were proof. Ashley wasn't losing a husband. She was losing a victim. And I was finally meeting the man she never wanted me to become. Freedom isn't a quiet process. It doesn't arrive gently with clarity and closure. It arrives with noise, phone calls, threats, guilt, and the ghosts of habits that beg you to return. The next morning, I woke up in the motel room to 27 missed calls and 46 messages from Ashley. She didn't sound heartbroken. She sounded cornered. There's a difference. Her last message read, Ashley, you think you're leaving me? You think I'm just going to let you walk out and ruin what we have? Ruin what we have. The audacity. The woman who handcrafted a betrayal actually believed I was the saboteur. I ignored the messages and got dressed. The motel mirror showed me a man who looked older than yesterday, but lighter, as if shedding her lies had peeled off a skin I never consented to wear. Before leaving, I checked my emails. My bank account showed a curious new transfer, $600 withdrawn the night before. Ashley signature autorisation. She wasn't wasting time. I texted her, Daniel, you're already stealing money. Didn't take long. She replied instantly, Ashley, it's our money. Don't play the victim. You abandoned your responsibilities. Abandoned? No. I escaped. I decided to return to the house. Not to stay, but to gather documents, insurance details, and anything that would protect me legally. If Ashley was preparing for war, I wasn't walking into it unarmed. When I pulled up, her car was gone. Good. I had time. Inside, the house felt foreign, like a showroom of memories I no longer owned. Our photos, our furniture, props from a life she'd invalidated. As I entered the office, I smelled her perfume. It lingered like poison. I forced myself to ignore it and started gathering what mattered. Bank statements, title documents, insurance files. Proof that my life had substance before she turned it into debris. I was nearly done when the front door slammed open. Ashley's voice sliced through the silence. Are you insane? You think you can just leave and loot the place? I stepped into the hallway, documents in hand. This is my name, my income, my house. I'm taking what belongs to me. Her heels clicked rapidly as she approached, predator mode activated. You aren't taking anything, she hissed. You don't get to run away like some martyr. You're not the hero here. I'm not trying to be a hero, I said. I'm trying to stop being the fool. Her eyes burned. If you walk out with those papers, I swear I will make this hell for you. You think Tyler is the problem? You haven't even seen what I can do. There it was, the evolution of betrayal. From denial to deflection to threat. You already made it hell, I replied. I'm just turning on the lights. She laughed, sharp and manic. Oh, don't pretend you're Mr. Innocent. You ignored me. You made me feel invisible. What was I supposed to do? Just drop beside you. I stepped closer. Cheat. Lie. Mock me to your lover. Count the days until you could leave like I was a jail sentence. Her face twisted, but her voice softened, her most dangerous weapon. You still love me, she whispered. You hate this, but you love me. That's why you're shaking. I looked down. My hands were still. I don't love you, I said. I love the person you pretended to be. She froze, hit not physically but surgically. For a moment, silence. Then she spat. Tyler was right. You're weak. I smiled, not cruelly but truthfully. Weak men stay. Her eyes widened. "You're not leaving," she said, stepping in front of the door like a bouncer guarding her ego. "I'm not letting you. You don't own me," I answered. "You're my husband." "No," I corrected, stepping around her. "I was your audience." She grabbed my arm again. Desperation didn't look good on her. "Daniel, listen." "No," I said, "and don't touch me again." I walked out the front door while she screamed something behind me that I couldn't hear. Not because she was quiet, but because for the first time ever I didn't care. As I put the documents in my car, my phone buzzed. Not Ashley. Tyler. Unknown number. "She isn't worth your sanity. She'll destroy you to protect herself. Don't fight her. Leave." I stared at the screen. The man who helped ruin my marriage was warning me. Not out of guilt, but fear. That meant Ashley wasn't just unhinged. She was planning something. And suddenly, leaving wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of a war I never wanted but could no longer avoid. To be continued. Tyler's message sat on my screen like a lit fuse. "She isn't worth your sanity. She'll destroy you to protect herself. Don't fight her. Leave." The irony was suffocating. The man who helped dismantle my marriage was warning me about the very monster he fed. His words weren't noble. They were self-preservation. He knew what I now understood. Ashley didn't lose gracefully. She detonated. I drove away from the house, unsure where I was heading, my mind chewing on Tyler's warning like glass. If he was scared of her, what did that say about the woman I'd let into every corner of my life? Halfway to the motel, my phone rang. Blocked number. My gut whispered Ashley. I ignored it. 10 seconds later, a voicemail notification appeared. Out of morbid curiosity, I listened. Her voice was icy, slow, and deliberate. "You left me no choice. You think you're better than me? You think you can humiliate me and walk away? You made this ugly, Daniel. Now I'm going to finish it. Finish it. Not fix it. Not fight for it. Finish." There's a specific tone a person uses when they no longer care about consequences. Ashley had found hers. I pulled over and sat still, engine humming, breath frozen. I'd spent months analyzing red flags, but this was different. This wasn't infidelity. This was escalation. There comes a moment in every story where the protagonist realizes he's been reading the wrong genre. I thought I'd been living a romantic tragedy. Turns out, I've been living a psychological thriller. That night, I met with an attorney, my first act as a man who finally understood the stakes. He wasn't surprised. "Cheaters rarely leave quietly," he said. "They rewrite their narrative. In their story, they're the victim, not the villain." He asked questions. I showed proof. Screenshots, messages, the card, her threats, Tyler's warning text. Each piece was another nail in a coffin I never thought I'd need. After hours of paperwork and explanations, he said something that lodged itself in my mind. "You don't win by reacting to her chaos. You win by removing yourself from proximity to it." The man was right. I wasn't battling Ashley. I was battling the version of myself who believed staying made me loyal, not foolish. Back at the motel, I expected silence. Instead, the universe delivered something rarer, clarity. My phone buzzed again. A photo this time. Ashley and Tyler. Not recent. One of their mirror elevator shots. Her leaning in. Him smirking. The same image I once mistook for a reflection of her happiness. Then her message followed. "Ashley, this is who I am now. You can't hold me back anymore. Not sorry. Not I made a mistake. Just a declaration. A farewell kiss to dignity." For the first time, her words didn't slice into me. They freed me. I typed back. "Daniel, I'm not holding you back. I'm letting you go. Permanently." I didn't wait for her reply. Instead, I put the phone down and exhaled a breath I'd been holding for years. Not just the last 6 months. Years. I saw my reflection in the dark motel window. Not the man she belittled. Not the man she counted down to abandon. Someone else. Someone rebuilding. People always talk about heartbreak like it's a wound that needs tending. They never mention the metamorphosis inside it, the cracking open of a shell you didn't know you were trapped in. What Ashley didn't realize was this. Sometimes losing someone who treats you like an option is the moment you become your own priority. She didn't destroy me. She revealed me. I don't know what her story looks like from here. Rage, regret, reinvention. But that's her narrative now. Not mine. My story ends differently. Not with revenge. Not with collapse. With clarity. With a man walking away from a countdown he never agreed to serve. With a door closing, not slammed in anger, but shut with intention. With the realization that love doesn't die when someone cheats. It dies the moment you finally understand you deserve better. And I do. More than she ever wanted me to believe. Yendi,